Hello. Good morning. How's it going? Welcome to those of you watching the recording. Good morning. Hello. I'll light some Palo. If I can find my lighter. Good morning, Kelly. Happy Monday. Hi, Katya. Good morning. Hi, Michelle. How's it going? Why do I feel like I'm lower? Was lower. There we go. Good morning, Connie. Hi, Summer. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Donna. Hi, Jen. Hi, Anya. Welcome. How is everyone? I wish I could join you, Kelly. Too early for me. Otherwise, I'll get nothing done for today. Good morning, Jody. Hi, Ray. How's it going? Good morning, Peggy. Hi, Lynn. Lynn says, there you are. Yeah, I was fashionably late today. Sorry about that. I've been having some tech issues the last 2 days, and I'm laughing because I'm wondering if that's Mercury retrograde. Thank you to those of you who came to my social media marketing workshop yesterday. Just giving you guys a little glimpse into the way I conduct myself on Facebook. It was quite funny. I stayed up till like 3 a.m. trying to sort out stuff the night before because I was having all kinds of tech issues with Zoom. It wouldn't let me show my phone and a bunch of other stuff. So I was a bit stressed about it. So like I said, I stayed up very late making sure I had everything ready. And then sure enough, I go to open my laptop and everything had reset itself. Everything needed a whole new everything. Everything that I had done needed to be redone again. It was a bit of a stress. So yeah, Mercury retrograde is already acting up quite a little bit today. I should say over the weekend. Jessica says Mercury and the solar activity is a doozy with tech. You are not kidding. Not kidding at all. It's been one thing after another. For those of you who didn't see, we've had quite a lot of solar activity over the weekend. In fact, I'm going to load that up now. Let's see. I didn't even look at it since this morning. Since I saw Marguerite was posting all kinds. Oh, yeah. The Geo Mag is acting up a little bit. Not too much of the Geo. Whenever the Geo Mag is up, that's when you look for auroras and stuff. So we did have a little bit of a spike on there. And then we've got, oh yeah, check out the solar flares. Yep. See, all those little spikes are probably why I didn't sleep very well last night. Oh, Daniela is texting me the stuff for a star today. Thank you, Daniela. So how did you guys have a weekend? What's your weekend up to? Hey, you guys get out, see some nature? Peggy says she feels retrograde this week. Good morning, Jody. Hi, Keisha. I got a weird headache yesterday, only on the left side that came and went. Sounds like an energy block. We get a lot of blockages that we are not aware of. And these blockages tend to kind of cause little pains here and there. We got a spammer already. You fuckers are incessant. Block, delete. Unbelievable. The amount of spammers on Facebook has reached biblical proportions, I swear. They are incessant and they're everywhere. It's crazy. Good morning, Michelle. You feel rough? You had crazy dreams, huh? How many of you are watching this podcast from bed right now? If I could have run my podcast from my bed, I would have. I was feeling it too. I could not sleep last night. I was up till like 2 a.m. Could not sleep to save my life. My melatonin did not kick in. Neither did my reefer, apparently. I was trying to smoke myself to sleep. It didn't happen. Catherine says, not doing well lately. I'm still here. I know this is where I need to be. It's hard. Let's all send Catherine some love, shall we? Sending you some big, big astral hug, Catherine. We all have those days. It is hard down here. It is tough. I'm going to ask if Daniela will join us for a meditation. I just texted her. Because that would be nice if we could do a little meditation this morning. Donna says, I am at work and I have been since 4 a.m. Sending you some extra energy, Donna, as well. Ashley says, I had headaches that lined up with the solar flares, and Sarah Jane's hat trick did help. You know what's funny? I used the hat trick over the weekend as well, and it did work. It did work well for me, too. So maybe we were just getting really intense downloads, and we needed, like, a cushion or something. I wish I could sleep the rest of the year. No matter how much I sleep, it's never enough. I'm sending you extra energy as well, Amma. Make sure that you actually tell your guides every once in a while to like give you a break. Just laughing at Jen. I'm going to start watching podcasts from bed. Great idea, Laura. On days with heavy solar activity where you just feel blah, you know, when you're actually like, you feel like you're wearing lead shoes. Yeah, those are the days where you need to ground yourself. Make sure that you sit outside for a little bit on the ground. Because a lot of the times, keep in mind that we are antennas. We are rooting a whole lot of very crazy energies that are coming down here. So this is why we're spread out in that grid we've talked about a few times. Gabby says, what is the hat trick? Hi, Gabby. Good morning. So Sarah Jane was telling us one time when she came on that whenever she gets intense downloads, solar flare effects, you know, she puts a hat on. Very simple. And for some reason, the hat does tend to kind of dampen the effect a little bit of the, the intensity a little bit. Good morning, Cynthia. Cynthia says, I have been awake since 5 a.m. and that is rare for me. I'm a big sleeper. I'm grateful that I'm able to join this. Who knows what wisdom comes out of this? Aw, thank you, Cynthia. We are going to have the chat on Astara today as well. So at 11 o'clock, if somebody can remind me when 11 o'clock is closed, we'll switch over to Astara and we can have our censorship-free chat for a little bit. Jessica says, I had the urge to wear lapis lazuli and amethyst for psychic protection this weekend. Nice. Lapis lazuli is very, very good for all kinds of third eye work. Just reading through some of the comments. I make sure to close any portals I have opened while I was sleeping. Yes, Michelle, we really do need to do that. Make sure that every day you're closing portals. You can remember the Siddhartha trick, pentagram, counterclockwise, slam it shut. You don't even have to do anything other than set your intention. You could do it this way. Like I said, I like to do the visual. It kind of makes me feel like it's actually going to work better. But you really just have to wake up, say, okay, I intend to close any portals that I have opened in this, in the vicinity, in the past, blah, blah, blah hours. And you just, it is done. Your intention, you'd be surprised how quickly your intentions. In fact, I was working the other day. I was doing clearings. And we always check to make sure there's no portals, no AI or anything in the vicinity. And when we finished doing the clearings, I said, all right, can you please make sure that there's no portals that have opened? Can you please make sure there's no parasites that have come through or anything? And they're like, Laura, there's a portal right under your feet. And I was like, what, really? They're like, yeah, you opened a portal under your feet. I was like, shit. Oops, my bad. All I was doing was typing, so I thought, but no, I opened a portal under my seat. And I think the reason I did that is because I was trying to tune into the clients as well to see what I could intuitively pick up. And yeah. Hold on. Was that pentacle symbol you just made? So Siddhartha says, if you make a pentacle, I think it was Siddhartha. Pretty sure it was Siddhartha that told us this. So you make a pentagram. See, kind of like the one I've got magically appeared on my wall. You see that? I didn't not do that. It was here when I moved in. So you do the star. Do you see? We're following it. Boop. Follow the star. See? And then you do a counterclockwise circle. Counterclockwise is the important thing. And then you slam it shut. So, doop, 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 doop. And do it at work too. Don't forget, keep in mind that portals open all over the place at work. We do, in most cases, check people's workplace or at least their work area when we do clearings. So we do find a lot of portals in people's like work computers and their cubicles. Found one in a garage the other day. Cars have them a lot too. Yes, Michelle, definitely. Yeah, no, I didn't put that on my wall. That was here when I moved in, funnily enough. I asked the soul guides about that. And they're like, yeah, everything happens for a reason. That was made for you without even you knowing it. Lucy says, can anyone recommend a psychic protection class, please? I've gone to look for one, but I can't see one. So Jono and Andy, I believe, are in the middle of doing one now. Hang on a minute. Let me share their websites. Jono and Andy are always offering psychic protection classes. I will be needing, this is going to be a requirement, by the way, for anyone that is going to be doing the Lost Soul Rescue group, which, by the way, I'm making today. I will share the link for it shortly. Is this Jono? Yeah, it is. Andy. So if you go into their websites, you can see they've got a whole lot of stuff. If anyone else is offering a psychic protection course, feel free to even drop a link. So that way you guys can sign up if you would like, at least for the next one. Nguyen says, what did I miss? Can you please talk about the pentagram again? We're talking about how to close portals. So we open portals all over the place. We do it all the time. We do it while we're sleeping. We do it while we're using electronics. We do it while we're sending people energy. I could have opened a portal just now when I was sending some energy to somebody a moment ago. So that's why when you're done sending the energy or whatever you're doing with your spell work, whatever, pentagram, see the pentagram right there? You don't have to follow this one, but it's just an example so you can see what I'm doing here. Follow the pentagram. Then you do a counterclockwise circle, slam it shut. What are the prerequisites for the Lost Soul Rescue Group? Well, keep in mind that we are going to be offering these recordings on Astara too, so that way you guys are able to watch what we do, because I would like to show you guys examples of the work we do. And considering that spirit release therapy is confidential, we're not able to record and post clearings for people to watch. So this is one of the ways that you guys can kind of get your feet wet with spirit releasement work without actually taking the full-blown course that they offer. The course is probably one of the best decisions I've ever taken in my entire life. Like the spirit releasement course, it is phenomenal. When it comes to the knowledge that I've learned, the abilities I have now, when it comes to the mediumship, way things have evolved since taking that class, it was probably one of the best choices I've ever made, hands down. But there are a lot of options when it comes for people if you're not sure you want to deal with clientele. We are going to be doing earthbound rescues. So there's a lot of earthbounds around. In fact, about half the people that die don't cross over right away. So there's a lot of people around here. I'm just keeping an eye on this comment. I'm watching you, Emily. That seems like a spammer comment, but I can't read the whole thing, so I can't tell. Can somebody see Emily's comment and let me know if that's a spammer? Because I'm going to ban her if it is. So there's been a lot of, like I said, a lot of people wondering about their loved ones that haven't crossed over yet. And so this is going to give people a lot of peace of mind that we will be checking for people that have crossed over. Sorry, to make sure they have crossed over. In fact, I'm pretty sure I asked Christopher to add this to my website. It may be available now. Let me just double check before I say anything. So if you go to astrallara.com, which is my website, and then you go down to services, you'll be able to see the spirit releasement clearings, quick SRT, full SRT, earthbound checks. There we go. Yes, I'm now offering earthbound checks. We will be doing this in the Lost Soul group regardless. But for those of you who would like me to check your loved ones to make sure they have crossed over properly, that they're not stuck in the lower astral being she is a spammer. Got her. Thank you. Bye-bye. Appreciate you guys. Boop. And she's gone. Hi, Matt. Nice to see you, bud. Yeah, it must have been on the Soul Apprentice page. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you. Christina says, what if they were really terrible people on Earth? Do they cross over right away? Most people that cross over are people that die happy. The best way of putting it. People that do not have entity attachments, people that pass peacefully in their sleep, that do not have a traumatic death, they almost always cross over. Even if you die with an illness, let's say you die from cancer or something of that nature, where it's pretty sad, but you have time to kind of prepare yourself. In most cases, that way, when you have time to prepare yourself, it's like you're more open to it. You have ways of sorting out. There's less fear because the fear involved is the biggest problem with death. Oh, Daniela, thank you. And Christopher also added to the website the application to be a guest on the podcast. Correct. Thank you so much. I forgot about he added that. Thank you, Daniela. So, yes, Christopher also added, if you guys would like to come on the podcast to talk about your spiritual businesses, there's an application on there to submit. What was I talking about? My ADD brain just went, zoop, gone. Oh, yes, the evil souls crossing over. So they're not, I didn't mean to say evil. Unhappy souls tend to be the ones that don't cross over. The ones that do naughty things in their lifetime, they tend to not cross over due to fear as well, because they fear punishment. All this talk about hell and how they're going to suffer for all eternity for all the naughty things they did. A lot of times people see the light and they think, it's hell, I'm not going there. So they would rather stick around as an earthbound. And for those of you who don't know what an earthbound is, it's essentially a soul that no longer has a body. We all have bodies right now. That's what makes us incarnated. So for those that do not have a body, that makes them discarnate. They lost their body. But everything stays the same until you cross over. You are exactly the same person until you cross over. When you cross over into the light, you are able to merge with source and other aspects of yourself. That's why you're able to remember all of a sudden the plans that you made and the family that you have that you may have forgotten about in between. There's a whole lot of stuff. Michelle says, do we need a date of birth for Lost Soul Rescue? It depends on the situation. Sometimes the mediums do struggle to find the person. Like, let's say your name is, I don't know, Jim Bob Brown or something. You know, there's a lot of Jim Bob Browns out there. So, so if you just have a name, then we may not be able to tune into the correct client. This has happened a couple times where I only had a name to work with and we accidentally tuned into the wrong client. So it actually happened like 2 weeks ago where we tuned into the wrong client accidentally. And it was funny too, because in the report, there was a mention of methamphetamine use. And the soul guide was telling me this. And I was like, well, I'm going to put it in the report. This is either going to be the most accurate report and it's going to blow their mind, or they're going to be like, nope, that was not me. And sure enough, it was Oops, not them. They were like, I run every day. I don't do meth. I don't know. I was like, oops, wrong person. But was it really the wrong person? Because the person we did clear really, really needed the clearing. And then when we realized the mistake, we went and cleared the right person. And then they both got a clearing. So everything happens for a reason. But like I said, sometimes, even the soul guides are, sometimes they just, I shouldn't even call it a mistake, like I said, because like I said, the first person that needed the clearing ended up getting it anyway. So like spirit is intelligent. But you know what else is really funny? Some of these soul guides, some of the more advanced soul guides don't even want to know a name. They want to know the case number. So some of the more advanced soul guides, because if you have a name, sometimes you end up getting confused with other people. But if we have a case number, then they don't get it confused with somebody else. So the more advanced soul guides, because of how intelligent spirit can be, this is just how it works sometimes. Thank you, Anne. Appreciate the compliment. Bashar says that when you feel sad for them, it's because they are visiting. Connect with her at those times. I was told I helped my mom cross over, but it still weighs in my mind sometimes. We can always check. Like I said, I'm offering Lost Soul Rescue and we call it Earthbound checks on my website. If you would like to, yes, I assign case numbers to my cases. So when the soul guides come in, they say, "Okay, what case number?" I say, "Oh, case number 144." They're like, "Okay." And it's funny too, because if I know some of you have booked family clearings the other day, I was a bit concerned about it. I was like, how are they going to figure that out? But then I was like, okay, case number 144, person 1. And they're like, okay, got it. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. So yeah, spirit is highly intelligent. They will find the person. Exactly, Cheryl. Yes, they follow the energy instead of the names. Chantal, you're funny. We have already checked like 4 times for him. But if you want to be my guest. And for the Earthbound checks, I can get a quick little message from the person if you would like one, if they're willing to give one. So for an Earthbound check, that's essentially what I do now. You give me the name of the person that has passed on. And then we check and their last known location, which does tend to help. And then if you, like I said, if you send in the app, we will go and check, make sure that they've crossed over properly. We also make sure that they don't have any curses, they don't have any attachments, that their karma is cleared as much as we can anyway. And we make sure that, that they are able to deliver a message if they would like to. You guys remember what I was like a few months ago, like when my best friend came to visit, the one that poked me in the eye. He's always around. But I didn't have the validation that it was him. I always knew that somebody was around hanging out with me, but I thought it was one of my soul guides. And maybe he is, I don't know. But when they actually checked to make sure that he was crossed over, and we found all of those dark contracts on him, that is why I've been motivated to do this ever since, for anybody that is interested. Thank you, Gabby. Love you. Gabby is the most amazing assistant ever. I appreciate you. There's my website. So if you guys would like us to check on any of your loved ones, we are happy to do so. Oops, I'm clicking buttons. Sorry. I found my mom passed away in her bedroom floor. I was told she was waiting for me and was pleased it was me that found her. Aw, Elaine. Sending you all my love. Hi, Jerry. Nice to see you, love. Happy to have done it for Sophia. And for Dermot, of course. I'd like to know if that person passed over that I asked about. Would I book that on your website? Yes. Yes. If you go to my website, astrallara.com, you will see I'm offering a whole bunch of stuff on here. So you'll notice quick clearing is the first thing I have up for $60. That is a recheck, basically. So if anybody would like we're actually working out a way that we can schedule these in advance as well. So for those of you who would like a monthly clearing, the quick clearings are what I would recommend, because we check all the if you get a full clearing, we've cleared all your karma and all of your other stuff anyway, all the curses, etc. So for a quick clearing, that's what we do. We check for earthbounds in your home. We check for entities. We check for devices, implants, parasites. And we will generally see if there's any curses attached to you and remove those as well, because curses do tend to be very obvious as well. I don't have it on the list, but whenever the soul guides see a curse, they immediately clear it, and they always look for them. Then we also ground you energetically, rebalance your chakras, and repair any holes in your etheric. Then we have the full SRT clearing. That is when we clear, hold on, we got the list here. We remove entities, earthbound spirits, astral parasites, dark energy patches, etheric implants, portals, AI, curses, spells, negative cords, past life injuries, ancestral karma, negative thought forms, and disassociated subpersonalities. We also check animals, by the way, too. So if you guys have any pets that you're concerned about, we also check for pets in the home. We also do tend to check like the vicinity around the home itself. But then, as I said, we've got the earthbound check. Earthbound checks. The medium will ensure that your deceased loved one has indeed crossed over to the light and is not trapped in the lower astral. We will also ensure they are free of entity attachments, curses, and any other forms of post-death entrapment. And we also provide a short message from the deceased if they would like to provide one. And then I've just turned back on the detailed SRT clearings. That is with specific advice from the soul guides included in the report, okay? So generally what I do for those, we ask, what is the origin of the client's vulnerability and how can it be repaired? What is the client's purpose for experiencing this particular lifetime? And what aftercare advice will the soul guides give to the client for continued health, spiritual well-being, and getting the client back on track in life? If you pick that, you may also submit 3 general questions of your own. So if there is something that you guys need to know, like, I don't know, who stole my Xbox controller? I don't know. Just a random thing. I was looking at my controller when I said that. You can ask anything you want. Generally, like I said, you don't want to, a lot of people do this too, where they'll go and ask, what is the purpose for my lifetime? So we ended up having it twice. So make sure that you ask intelligently when it comes to your questions so you don't waste it. We also include mediumship readings. So mediumship readings are like a more detailed clearing, except it doesn't have the clearing. A mediumship reading is essentially like a lost soul rescue, but we go more in depth. We ask up to, I believe, 6 questions for a mediumship reading, and we do voice record those for people. Chrissy says, Laura, can I please ask about loved ones who suicided? One of my best friends took his life 11 years ago. Was his birthday on Saturday. Unsure whether you have spoken about this before. One of the reasons I do this work, I think one of the things that has shaken me the most was losing my best friend to suicide as well. On 7/13/07, he took his own life. And ever since that day, I have missed him terribly, to the point where I literally talk to him every single day. I still, 17 years later, talk to him as if he's in the room every single day. And he's the fucker that poked me in the eye not too long ago. I was thinking negative thoughts. I don't know why. I was just thinking negative thoughts for some reason, and I didn't catch myself. But he did. He poked me right in the eye. And like I said, they are around. But it took me quite a few months upon learning about spirit releasement. I don't even know why, to do a clearing on him to make sure that he was all right. And he was not all right. He had died 17 years prior, and he still had dark contracts on him. His ancestral karmic contracts were still going on. In fact, they were affecting his children too, and that really, really upset me. So I put all of his family in a bubble, and I cleared them all. So I removed all of the dark contracts from his family. He committed suicide due to a dark contract. It's a long story. I've talked about this before, but it started with his great-grandfather. Apparently, his great-grandfather made a contract with an entity. That is what a dark contract is. And I'm not sure what he traded with this entity or what he got in return. But he made a contract about collecting souls. And essentially, when the great-grandfather went to World War I or went to war, he held up his end of the bargain by collecting souls, if you know what I mean. And then his grandfather, World War II, same thing. And then his father, the Vietnam War, same thing. So each one had an ancestral, because you pass these on to your children sometimes. So what happened to him, my best friend, was that he didn't go off to fight in war. He didn't go off and fight anything. He's never taken a life. So he didn't hold up his end of the bargain. So they took his. So they goaded him into suicide. After years of harassment, they won over. And so it's a deep convo. Like I said, but this is part of the motivation I have and why I am the way I am. Because it is heavy shit. It is. A lot of us are dealing with stuff that is unfathomably difficult. And so this is why, this work is paramount in my life, really. Is to stop other people from doing the same thing. And it was weird too. He kept talking about himself like he knew he wasn't going to live very long. And he only lived to be 23. So it was it's like he knew it was coming. It's really weird. So yeah. As Amma says, I can't wait for this shit to be over. You and me both, Amma. That's exactly how I feel too. So yeah, this is part of my motivation as to why this work is so important. And when we tuned into the medium, when I found out about his dark contract, it was still on him and being passed on to his children as well. So they would have had to deal with this shit too. When I found out about it, I bawled my eyes out. It was really heavy. But meanwhile, as I'm doing this, medium's like, you're okay. Like, he's here. He's dancing. He was doing the wristy shuffle, which is his dance that he used to do. That's how I know it was him, because he was doing this next to me. He was so happy. And she's like, why is he doing this? And I was like, oh my God, he's doing the wristy shuffle. That was his happy dance. It made my heart melt and I stopped crying. I was so relieved to help him. And how happy he must have been to have all this shit, to know his children were going to be okay and that they aren't going to have to suffer the way he did. So Kevin says, does the eye poke have meaning? My grandfather poked someone in the eye who was communicating with my ancestors. It's a joke. It literally felt like a fly. Have you ever had a fly go right in your eye? That's what it felt like. So yeah, spirit has a great sense of humor. They really do. And even though we may be really sad about what happened to them, a lot of times they're already over it. They're like, yeah, it was part of the plan. So it is nice that we are able to do these things for people. So Jennifer says, sorry to ask again. I think I got lost in the comments. Yeah, you probably did. Sorry, there's a lot of comments popping up today. Sorry, Jen. You mentioned your astral projection and protection class that you can use pentagram stickers on your electrical devices to protect against unwanted portals. My question is, can you also place those same stickers in the mirrors of your house for the same purpose? Yeah, you can. There's mine. See? I'm covering up my stuff. See? There's mine. It's in my phone. I have one on all of my things. I have one on the back of my TV. I have one on my Xbox. I have one on the bottom left corner of that mirror there. Keep in mind that all televisions, all phones, if you think about it, this is a black mirror that you're holding. Little face. This is a black mirror that you're holding. And your TV. If you have a TV in your bedroom, you have a giant black mirror in your bedroom. Black mirrors are used for occult practices, just so you know. Not all negative occult practices. Like I said, some occult practices are positive, but that is what they're used. So yeah, stick them everywhere. I have them on Aiden's tablet. And you know what's funny? His tablet kept getting portals. It stopped, actually. I haven't had to clear a portal from his tablet in like 3 weeks since I got those stickers. So I truly believe they do work, eh? What are the stickers called? They're pentagrams. And you know what's funny? People always think they're associated with witchcraft. That right there, the star, the 5-pointed star. This one has got the star over it, the circle around it. Oops, there's a bit of resin on mine. So yeah, there's it's a way of keeping all of these things closed. This is why they tried to demonize the pentagram, for the record. I ordered them from Etsy, and they were not cheap either, by the way. I think it was like $10 for 60 stickers. It was not cheap, but it was worth it. Like I said, they're all over. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them online, wherever. Just saw another question. By the way, when I do the Earthbound rescue, I do the same thing for you guys that I did for my best friend. I would make sure that, like I said, the big curses are gone, that they don't have any entity attachments, that they're not being stuck. Because you find Earthbounds in the weirdest places. I found, as I told you guys a couple weeks ago, in a trailer, I found 14 Earthbounds trapped in the floor. And they weren't like you would picture an Earthbound. They were like sparks. They were like, you know how they have like sparks in a bottle, like a genie in a bottle kind of situation. They were trapped as sparks, which makes me wonder if they were even Earthbounds. They might have actually been soul fragments. Because soul fragmentation is the thing. We check for soul fragmentation every time we do a clearing. In fact, sometimes we've even found people that have lost half of their soul, their spirit. They've given each shard away because each one of us is like a spark of consciousness, right? And it's a big, big spark, but little pieces can come off of it. And you leave pieces of yourself spread across different universes, different realities, different timelines. And so when we do a lost soul rescue, or when we do a clearing, we go through and we clear all of the shit that's not supposed to be there, and we call back all the stuff that is supposed to be there, including any soul shards that you've left in other realities or that entities have stolen. Do you think a pentagram or pentacle is better? And does it matter? I don't think it matters. Personally, they do say pentagram, not pentacle. They tell me to draw a pentagram. So the pentacle is when it has the circle around it. Generally, that is what you tend to find the most. I have a shaman friend that told me that if you have the circle around it, it limits it. It's kind of like the flower of life. When you have the seed of life as one thing, and then you have the circle around it, it limits it. Whereas I have, for example, here, I'll show you. Let's find it. Okay, so like the seed of life here, this is what I use for making crystal grids. Okay, and this shaman, the same shaman, told me that if I were to get a crystal grid, most of the time you see this is the seed of life, right? And a lot of times when you see it, it's depicted like this. Well, the reason I have this one where it's not finished is it continues off the board. But if you were to put a circle around it and to finish it off, then it stays here. It doesn't move off, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that's true. This is, like I said, this is just what I was taught from one of my shaman friends. But they basically explained that if you put the circle around it, you limit it. You lock its power down in a way. So that's why I was told specifically to get this one for making crystal grids, because they emanate off of the grid. You know, you can make it here, start here, and then it moves off. So it like expands off of the board itself, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this is on another thing I got off of Etsy. I said it's a board somebody burned. But these are really cool for making grids. You have them around the house. Check out the new Moldavite I got over the weekend as well. Boop, look at that. It's huge. It's about as big as this one I got here. About the same size, see? But it's very powerful. I got it for $111, I think I paid for it. So I got it from one of Kayla Clausen's friends. What is his name of his page? Hold on. Space Pickle Moldavite is the name of his group. There it is. Really great guy named John is selling all kinds of Moldavite. See? So if you guys want to get some Moldavite from the same place I got it, John's got some amazing pieces, just for the record. Like I said, this one, I mean, look at it. It's huge. For Moldavite, this is really big. And it's intact, too. I don't really like to get Moldavite that is broken. This one's a pretty good intact piece. Look at that. So I activated it over the weekend. Make sure that when you get a new crystal, you activate it and you set it to intention. So you say things like, I activate this crystal with my heart chakra, and I would like this crystal to help strengthen my heart and to help me strengthen my psychic abilities. Simple. You just tell it what do you want it to do. Give it a job. Catherine says, how do you know it's real in general? By getting it from a trusted source. That's why I was just telling you my trusted source. I do not recommend going on eBay or anything. You do end up getting some nice pieces. This is the piece that I got from eBay. As you guys are aware, I've had this piece for a really long time. This one I got on an auction. As you can see, it's like quite small compared to this one. I paid $35 for this one because I got it on eBay. But the reason I got it from the source that I got it from is because they have paperwork to prove where it came from. So the biggest problem is that there's a lot of fakes online. Very, very popular stone for fakes. You can make it out of resin and all kinds of stuff. The problem with moldavite is that, like I said, it's extremely rare. This is a piece of another planet for those who may not be aware of it. It's a tektite. It's a meteorite. It's a glassy meteorite. That's what a tektite is. So these tektites are very rare because, like I said, they only have one origin on Earth where they crashed. Moldavite is named after the Moldau Valley where it crashed in the Czech Republic. Alma says, I made an organite pendant with my moldavite. Nice. I bet that's going to be intense. So yeah, if you want to Google looking up real versus fake so you can kind of tell how obvious it is, I agree, Keisha. Definitely look it up and see. You looked at yours under a microscope. Interesting, Jen. I've never done that before. Very cool. So yeah, it is quite expensive, moldavite, because like I said, it's quite rare and it's a limited resource. So make sure that you're not buying it. No offense or anything. But India and China cannot be trusted when it comes to fake crystals. So many of them are fakes coming out of there. Hi, Jordan. Nice to see you, honey. We've just been chit-chatting. So I had an interesting case I wanted to talk to you guys about. You know what's funny? I did a clearing on somebody in my family. They've been going through some difficult stuff. Extended family member. And one of the things that I was really shocked about, she's been having some difficulty, as all teenagers tend to do. But she had a bit more difficulty than your average teenager. She's been struggling quite a bit. And what's interesting about this is what I found on her. So I found a level 4 attached to her, which I did not even know was a thing. It's kind of like, the best way of describing it is kind of like Hexus. You guys watch Fern Gully? I found a Hexus. And it took over the entire apartment complex. It was crazy, actually. It's probably the craziest thing we've had to remove yet, to be honest. And I couldn't believe that Hexus was actually a real thing. Like, it was like this sentient black goo that was everywhere. It was quite crazy. But what was interesting was the effect that it had. She had wings on her from her time in Atlantis. And I was like, really? The soul guides were like, yeah, she still has wings, kind of. And I was like, what do you mean, kind of? And they're like, well, the wealthiest, the most powerful, most wealthy people in Atlantis were able to purchase augmentations. And she still had her Atlantean augmentation. And I was like, what? What do you mean? She had wings. But her wings were not normal wings anymore. They were broken. Something or someone had shattered her wings to the point where they were all like, shattered and broken in many ways. And then they were scorched as well. So funnily enough, this girl's been having back problems for a very, very long time. Isn't that crazy to have back problems for so long, to not even understand why your back hurts, only to find out that, she had broken wings still attached to her. And it was crazy too, because as she said it, before she even said anything about the wings. I saw it in my mind's eye. I actually saw her flying with these big, it was like silver wings, flying over a city with what do they call it? The ringed waterways. And I immediately knew what it was. And I said something to the soul guide. I was like, does she have wings in Atlantis? And the soul guide looks at me like, why? What do you see? And I was like, I just saw her flying over a city with rings in the water. And they were like, you just saw what I was seeing. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah, you just totally picked up on the stream. And I was like, oh, cool. How cool is that? So yeah, many of us actually have wings. And you know what's funny, Jessica? That is exactly what I thought of too, Maleficent, when her wings were taken. That is what they looked like. They were like nubs. Shame. Can you imagine? So yeah, I was so happy to do that for her. And I couldn't imagine what trauma she went through upon losing them. So isn't that interesting? I just thought that was so crazy. Chantal says, I didn't know Atlanteans had wings. Atlanteans had all kinds of accoutrements. They had all kinds of body morphing things. This was back in the day when they were doing all kinds of experimentation. Because remember, we asked about, like, the Tayghetans were talking about Isis. Isis, and she had wings. That's a real thing. Isis actually did have wings. You were able to have wings back in the past. They could artificially put them on you. And it makes me laugh because we were just watching Jupiter Ascending. I was talking about Jupiter Ascending, the movie, the other day. It's a movie about reptilians and all kinds of shit in there. In the movie, the guy has wings. And he had his wings taken from him. And I just thought that was one of the most interesting things from my cases that I've got yet. I found it interesting that I found a hexus. Like, it was just like in the Fern Gully. If you guys picture hexus in Fern Gully, that is what we found over the apartment complex. So I asked about it. I was like, this is probably a good thing we're doing this. And they were like, yeah, your entire apartment complex is going to thank you for this. And they're subconsciously, because they can feel the whole difference. It's interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of beings that did actually have wings back in the day. And they talk about this all the time. They talk about this in Greek mythology. There were so many winged creatures back in the day. And I bet you some of you also had wings yourselves. And it was a shame when we found her in the astral, when we went to check on her, she was all like cowered down, like with her little nubs, like, aw. Like, it's hard enough being a teenager, but to have that carrying around with you, your broken wings, not even being able to see them, not knowing why you're in pain and why you feel so about everything. Alma says, I'd love me some wings so I can travel the world for free. Yep, me too. I saw a being with wings like a small child back in 1993. Maybe I saw Atlantis creature that time. It's, there's a lot of beings that have wings. You'd be surprised. And yes, Chantal, we fixed them. Yep. Actually, I'm pretty sure we removed the remnants, actually, to be clear about it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we removed. It was a past life resonance. So it's kind of like the same as when we find, like, a weapon in somebody's back. We found an axe in somebody's shoulder, those sort of things. And then sure enough, we were like, oh, we found an axe in the shoulder removed. And they're like, oh my God, my shoulder feels so good today. Yeah. That's why. It's because your light body can feel everything. This is why, for example, if you have like lost a limb, if you've lost an arm or a leg or a foot or anything, you can still feel those things later on. It's because your light body still has it. That's why people can feel phantom appendages and stuff. Mimi says, when I was told about my broken wings, it broke my heart. Should say rebroke it. The thing is, right? You subconsciously remember all of these things. So it's almost like when you remember consciously and you re-download the memory, it's almost like you're picking at the scab in a way, It's like you go through the trauma all over again. This is why sometimes hypnosis can actually pick at the scabs too, unfortunately. In fact, there was a past life resonance somebody picked up from a hypnosis session where it didn't get cleared properly from the hypnosis session, and they felt pain after their hypnosis session, and they booked a clearing with me thinking they picked something up, and nope, they didn't actually pick up an entity from the hypnosis session. They picked up a past life resonance that did not get cleared. Hi, Ray. Ray says, what happens to the people that cross over with dementia or Alzheimer's? Where do they go? It depends. A lot of times, keep in mind that your body is often the cause of the Alzheimer's and the dementia. So as soon as you leave your body, it's like you automatically have the ability to remember more, even without crossing over. In some cases, yeah, they do stick around. They do tend to go to the family members. I found a grandmother attached to somebody 2 days ago. And she meant well. She didn't realize she was supposed to cross over. That's the sweet and innocent of it, is that she wasn't even attached to the person. She was in their house. And she was just kind of chilling. And I was like, what are you doing here, Grandma? And she's like, oh, I was just watching. Just hanging out, basically. She had a mixing spoon in her hand and everything. It was so cute. Shame. Bless her. So yeah, we're like, what you doing here? She's like, she didn't know she was supposed to cross over. We're like, oh yeah, you can come back. You just got to send you over really quick. Just jump in this light really fast, and then you can come back and watch all you want. Because keep in mind that, unfortunately, when you are still in Earthbound, you are kind of, I don't like using the word energy vampire because it's not a very nice word, but it is essentially true. They do sap our energy. They don't mean to, but they do. Yeah. Almost a star time. Thank you, Katya. I appreciate you. I can see how hypnosis could be triggering and counterproductive potentially. Potentially, yes. But keep in mind that anything you don't do properly, it tends to have that effect. You know, you can have things be triggered. Sometimes people are unaware of the fact that they can trigger negative things as well as positive. So it's just part of the process, you know. And sometimes it's not even the practitioner itself, it's the client that is the reason, because they didn't let go of it. So that is also a big thing that is a part of it too, because you may go in for the hypnosis session with the full intention of getting healing. But then when you realize what you're healing from, you're like, no, I don't want to get over that. That was fucked up. You know, that happens quite a lot where people are like, they remember, they're like, okay, I'm ready to forgive everything. And you're like, okay, here's some things you need to forgive. And they're like, oh, I didn't know about that. No, I'm not forgiving that. You know? So there's a lot of times when people actually end up picking up baggage from these things. So yeah, this is why it is, it's good to try out different forms of therapy, because for some people, hypnosis works phenomenally well. It helped them. They've never felt better afterward. And other people were re-traumatized with it. So like I said, it's down to a whole lot of different factors that I'm not going to go into today. But it is true that it's nice to have a clearing before your hypnosis session, for the record. That way you're able to clear any of the heavy karmic shit or any attachments that you have that might be trying to stop you from hypnosis. It was me saying this that got me fired from Dolores Cannon, funnily enough, where I'm like, nope, make sure you get a clearing before you go for a hypnosis session. But it is true, and it is a wise thing to do. Even though some people may find that offensive and think it's a thing against them, it's really not. It's just a precautionary thing. Well, there's 130 people watching. It's really nice to see you guys. I'm so happy that you joined me today. I am going to switch over to Astara in just a second. So for those of you who are not aware of what I'm talking about, Astara Community is our happy place where we can go and discuss things without censorship. Just be aware, today we are going to discuss the Chen chat from the other day. So this chat is going to have a trigger warning on it, because we are going to be talking about some things that may be a little bit upsetting, which is why we're switching over there anyway. I don't want people just popping into the chat and not being aware of what we're discussing and not having the warning in advance. So yeah, for those of you who would like to hear more about what we discussed on the Chen chat the other day, feel free to join me on Astara. It's going to be a Zoom chat, and I'm just going to Thank you, Christopher and Daniela. So today at 11, yep, we have the community mentorship. That's what I'm going to be doing in just a moment. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., we have the Om Daily Coherence with Jacqueline Burke. And then tomorrow at noon, we have the Activate Your Light, the crown chakra activation with Marla Lumina. So if you get your crown chakras activated tomorrow, guys. All right. So I love you all. It's 11. I'm going to switch over to Zoom now. I will see those of you over there. I'm not sure if it's on the paid or the regular. I can't remember. Sorry. I'm not sure if it's on which one it's on. I love you guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Oh, yeah. And tomorrow's podcast guest. Who's tomorrow's guest? It is Patty Oliver. Yay. So we're going to do an Akashic Records reading tomorrow with Patty Oliver. So for those of you who are not aware, the Akashic Records is something that we can check for, your soul history. So you guys will actually I'm going to be doing a little reading with Patty tomorrow. So you guys can have a little peek at my own Akashic record, because I told you guys I have nothing to hide from anybody. I really don't care. So I'll be the guinea pig tomorrow and you guys can see. So I love you all. I will see some of you in a minute and I will see the rest of you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye, guys.